Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of our 5 Reasons to Buy trilogy. In this series, we will be going over the 5 advantages in using each of the 3 major operating systems, namely Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. By the end of this series, hopefully you will all consider leaving the comfort zone of your current OS and give the other alternatives a chance. Before we begin the video, however, I'd like to remind all of you viewers to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's free, it's a click away, and it really helps a small channel like us make more content like this in the future. Alright, let's start off the series with Windows, the OS that currently dominates over 70% of all computers. One of the reasons Windows remains as a dominant OS among users is that it is more adaptable, running everything from the most recent games and applications to older software that was formerly used in organizations around the world. On Windows, almost any version of software will run. However, in a Mac, the application will only run if it is compatible with the version of the operating system. This allows the user to use the version of software they're comfortable with until they're ready to update it. If you compare the learning curve of the Windows operating system and that of Linux, you will realize that using Windows is way less complicated than Linux. Linux has more than one edition of development called distro and distribution. Windows and Mac only has one exclusive edition. And this makes Linux stand out, but the problem comes when one wants to learn how to use either one or both editions of Linux. The operating system has a longer learning curve than other operating systems, so this slows down the work being done because employees at the company are still trying to learn how to use the operating system instead of getting down to business. When compared to other platforms, applications available for Windows tend to have superior features. This is not to argue that Windows has all the best software. There are some excellent programs available for other operating systems, but when we look at the larger picture though, we observe that Windows-based programs appear to outperform their equivalents. Microsoft Office is an example of this. For decades, MS Office has been a dominant model in delivering modern Office-related document handling software environments. Even though it is available for both Windows and Mac users, the Windows version offers a significantly superior experience. Plus, users get a free version of the app pre-installed with each copy of Windows 10. Utility programs are not the only ones that favor Windows over other operating systems. Most AAA games nowadays tend to favor Windows too. This means that without the help of virtual machines or compatibility layer software like Wine, Mac or Linux users will be fairly restricted when new games enter the market. Few examples of this are Cyberpunk 2077, Resident Evil Village, and the upcoming Halo Infinite. Which brings me to my next point. When compared to all the other operating systems, Windows has the most variety of games. If we were to talk about performance, Linux and Windows seems to have a relatively even ground, but the major difference that sets these two operating systems apart is the frame rate. Every supported version of Windows maintains consistent frame rates, while different versions of Linux can offer completely different performances depending on how well you've set up the OS on your computer. Mac OS, on the other hand, does not catch up to Windows and Linux when it comes to gaming, but the problem is not in the operating system, rather the hardware limitation that comes with the machine. Windows drivers are available for almost any hardware due to its popularity. Manufacturers of hardware devices try to ensure drivers are available for Windows customers to download and use. This is a marketing strategy for the manufacturers because they know that there are more Windows users who will purchase a product. Linux, on the other hand, is not so privileged, and it is not considered first. Hardware support is more limited in Linux because some drivers take time to create, so they are not available immediately. If we were to include macOS devices in this equation, Windows still wins because it is easy to upgrade the hardware of a Windows device, unlike MacBooks. This then brings me to the next point. Windows 10 has always supported touchscreens and has a tablet mode that allows you to switch between using the screen and the keyboard for inputs. Because of better out-of-the-box hardware support, most device manufacturers will choose to implement Windows on their devices in favor of saving the resources they'd otherwise need to spend to implement an operating system on their devices. Therefore, consumers will have a larger variety of devices with varying specs and prices to choose from if they don't mind using Windows as their daily driver. Systems like Mac OS requires a good sum of money even for the old models. In Linux's case, however, since the system is mostly maintained by the community, many niche hardware gets left out in the development process. Users that insist on installing Linux on said hardware would have to search very hard for any community-made driver that supports their hardware. And that concludes today's video on top 5 reasons to install Windows. We hope that you've learned something new about the world's current leading OS. If you feel like this video has been helpful, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're interested in seeing more content like this. That's all for now. We hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.